So now, let us first talk about the music theory rudiments. So what is music theory rudiments? Music theory rudiments are the simply fundamental music elements such as notes or musical notation, and it uses note as pitch as used in a master staff, application of rhythm or time, note intervals, key signatures, music scales, and music chords. So in the rudiments of music, there are also the definition used in the structure of music to allow you to create and then communicate that song to others. And like the basic music theory, it encompasses many of those most important rudiments of music. So what is music theory? Music theory is a body of knowledge that explains how the music of different forms is made from the same basic sounds and how that music can be understood through a common language and notation, and it can provide one with the tools to appreciate music at a deeper level and a foundation on which you develop greater knowledge of music. So let us begin our study on the following musical signs or symbols. First is the stop. It is composed of 5 lines and 4 spaces with a clef indicating the pitch of notes. All music is written between and around the stop. Second is the grand stop. It is where they putting together the treble stop and face stop to make the grand stop. The grand stop is a system of 2 5-line staves spanning the complete usable range of pitches or with the use of ledger lines, while the stop is a 5-line system used to locate pitches. Third is the measure. It is a section of physical stop that comes in between 2 bar lines. It means that if you subdivide a stop by using bar lines, a measure is created. Fourth is a bar line, a vertical line that divides the stop into measure. So there is 5 types of bar lines, namely single bar line, double bar line, and bar line start repeat and end repeat. So in single bar line, it is a single vertical line that indicates the end of one measure and the beginning of other. And the double bar line, it is the 2 side-by-side vertical lines indicating the end of one section or stanza and the beginning of other. Third is the end bar line. It is a 2 vertical lines. The second line is thicker than the first. This indicates the end of musical movement or an entire composition. Fourth is the start repeat. A double bar lines. The first one is thicker than the second, followed by a pair of dots that look like a colon punctuation mark. This indicates the first measure of a repeated section. And the fifth is the end repeat. A double bar line. The second one is thicker than the first, preceded by a pair of dots that look like a colon punctuation mark. This indicates the final measure of a repeated section. So in music, there is also a ledger line. So ledger line is used in Western musical notation to notate pitches above or below the line spaces of a regular music staff. This is to accommodate notes higher or lower than the range of the staff. Treble or G clef. It primarily notates musical notes above middle C. The treble clef is shaped like an ornamental letter G, and its inner curve surrounds the note G4 falls above middle C. For this reason, the treble clef is nicknamed by G clef many instruments including the trumpet, violin, guitar, and music of the treble clef. It is also used on the piano grand stop to notate music played by the right hand and vocal music. This is usually sung by the sopranos and altos. Third is the bass or F clef. The bass clef is shaped like an ornamental letter F, accompanied by 2 dots that bracket the music note F3, which is first F below the middle C. For this reason, F clef is the bass clef, is the most common clef for double bass guitar, trombone, and timpani. Cello players can read bass clef, but most of their music is notated for tenor clef. In piano notation, the bass clef is typically contain music to be played by the left hand and vocal music. This is usually sung by the tenors, baritones, and basses. Next is the slur. It is a curved line that connects two or more notes with a barred pitch just within a measure or two adjacent measures. A slur, or also called a phrase marking, indicates a phrase of music that is to be played with legato articulation. Legato means to play something smoothly, making each note feel connected to the next, or to the opposite staccato articulation. Next is the tie. It is also a curved line that connects two or more notes of the same pitch. The two notes connected by a tie must be the same pitch. It does not matter at all if they are different rhythmic values. For example, a tie can connect a quarter note to a half note as long as the quarter note and half note are both the same pitch. For example, a G or so. And next is the breath mark. It's usually engraved with a comma-like symbol placed above the stop in between two notes, indicating you to breathe before the note you are going to sing, or by voice, or play musical instrument like a wind or brass instrument. So next, the accent. Another term for accent is stress, which is a momentary emphasis or prominence of a specific melodic or rhythmic detail. It can be indicated through graphical means such as symbols or verbally. In metrically organized music, accents are used for the artistic articulation of sound and compatibility with the specific patterns of another activity like dancing. Generally, the first beat of measure is accented, which means playing or singing the note louder. Next, fermata. A fermata is a symbol placed over a note or rest, telling us to hold it longer than its normal duration. Some people say it's look like a little bird's eye. A fermata placed over a quarter note means that you would hold the note longer than one count. In music, there is also what they call da capo, DC, fine, da capo, alpine, dal segno, and coda. From an Italian term that means go back from the beginning, abbreviated as DC, it tells the musician to go back and repeat the music from the top or beginning, or capo. Fine, or pronounced as fine, indicates the end of composition. The end of the song does not necessarily mean the last section. It could go back from the first section and end there or at the next section. The capo alpine, abbreviated DC alpine, means that you go back to the beginning of a piece and repeat until you come to the word fine, which will usually be marked with a double or final or solid bar. Dal segno, or DS al coda. The abbreviation DS stands for dal segno, and it means that you go back to the spot in the music where you see the symbol and repeat from there. DS al coda means that you go back to the symbol and repeat until you reach the coda sign. Now when you get the coda sign, you skip down to the coda, a number of measure at the end of piece. Coda, or in Latin word cauda, means tail. It is used to indicate where the song goes after the final repetition of a specific section is complete. Da capo al coda, or DC al coda. DC al coda tells you to repeat the piece until you reach the coda sign, then skip to the next coda sign and play the coda, a short ending section. Next, dal segno alpine, or DS alpine. DS alpine means to go back to dal segno sign and repeat until the point marked fine. So in music rudiments, it includes the notes. These are the musical symbols that indicate sound. They are used to virtually represent perceived music played with instrument or sung by human. So there are the type of notes that indicate the duration of sound, or how long you let the note ring. First is the whole note, 4 beats. The whole note has a hollow head and doesn't have a stem. Second is a half note, 2 beats. The half note has a hollow head and a stem. Third is the quarter note, 1 beat. The quarter note has a solid head and a stem. Fourth is the 8th note, 1/2 beat, and the 8th note has a solid head, a stem, and a single hook. Fifth is the 16th note with a 1/4 beat. The 16th note has a solid head, a stem, and has 2 hooks. So like a note, there's also a different type of rest. So what is rest? Rest is a sign indicating to stop a note or absence of sounds. For every type of note, there is a there is an equivalent rest. First is the whole rest. Whole rest is a 4 beats. The whole rest is drawn as a rectangle that hangs off the second line of from the top of the stop. Second is the half rest, 2 beat. The half rest is smaller rectangle that's very similar to the half rest, but it sits on the middle line of the stop. Third is the quarter rest. 1 beat. The quarter rest looks like a school letter Z with a small letter C on the bottom. Fourth is the 8th rest. 1 and 1/2 beat. The 8th rest looks like a little number 7 with a little blob on its end. Fifth is the 16th rest. 1/4 beat. The 16th rest looks similar like the 8th rest, but it has a 2 flicks line. And it also includes accidental or chromatic symbols. So accidentals are notes that are not part of any key signature that you are playing in, and these notes are marked by sharp, flat, double sharp, double flat, or natural sign. They just appear by accident for some reason, like a borrowed or altered chord, changing a melodic line outside the key signature, etc. And these are the accidental or chromatic symbols. First is the sharp, raises the pitch of note by half step or semitone. Second is the flat, lowers the pitch of a note by a half step or semitone. Third is the double sharp, raises the pitch of a note by a whole step. Fourth is the double flat, lowers the pitch of a note by a whole step. So in music rudiments, it also have a time signature. The time signature tells the number of beats in every measure and the kind of note that will receive one beat. It has what we call upper number and lower number. And lastly, in music rudiments, it also includes letter names or pitch and solfa syllables. So letter names or pitch names, these are the first 7 letters of the English alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, but arranged in C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So these 7 letters or pitch name are used repeatedly, so when you start to C and get to B, start again with C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. You can notice that each letter or pitch name is octave apart from each other. Octave means 8. From C to C is octave part, so with D to E, D to D, E to E, and so on. And the second is solfa syllables. These syllables do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do are used to represent the tones of music scale regardless of their key signature. Now, T is pronounced as C. These solfa syllables have their corresponding pitch or letter names.